having fun yet?
Welcome to Barstow to Vegas. So what am I doing here in the middle of the desert? Well, I'm riding the LA to Barstow to Vegas dual sport ride put on by District 37 of the AMA and sponsored by BMW as part of its nationwide adventure series. This dual sport event, now in its 26th year, is quite a serious off-road event. It actually goes from somewhere around LA or Palmdale in the desert all the way to Barstow on its first day, and the next day it goes from Barstow all the way to Las Vegas. It's a tradition. Kind of started as a protest ride when they ended the Barstow to Vegas race, but so much since then it's just become a ride of its own. It's just a ride for those who want to put on many, many miles in the desert over a course of 1 or 2 days. You have your choice. And you find a lot of ex-racers, ex-desert racers, ex-motocrossers, people that just love to ride and are not competing anymore. They just want to go out and ride. And a lot of them want to ride, well, serious terrain. This year's ride is proving to be quite tough with so much sand you just can't believe it. Sandwash after sandwash, whoop after whoop, endless sandbogs, and that seems to be the majority of the course this year. Now, towards the end of day 2, there's Red Rock Canyon. People actually come from across the country to ride this event.
So just what is a dual sport ride? Well, a dual sport ride is basically a go-at-your-own-pace guided tour. These rides are done on off-road capable motorcycles that must be street legal. This configuration allows dirt sections to be tied together with pavement, allowing you to experience a lot of different areas of off-road riding. It's not a race, it's not a competition. There's no prize for being first because there is no first. It's a go-at-your-own-pace ride, and you're guided by what's provided in the way of a roll chart, which tells you turn right 2.5 miles, turn left 2.75 miles. So you're guided by the roll chart where you turn and where you go. The Barstow to Vegas ride is known for a couple of things, one of them being the great distances the ride covers. The other would be possibly the world's longest roll chart. I think one year we measured 15 feet in length. The Barstow to Vegas ride is also known for typically being one of the most difficult rides on the schedule. This is by way of the nature of the ride itself, covering deep sand and desert rocks. It's certainly not a ride for beginners or those weak of heart. Most AMA dual sport rides have optional adventure bike sections, which are easier for larger bikes to traverse. The adventure routes on this year's ride were hard, even for dirt bikes, because of the deep sand. This ride is part of the BMW National Adventure Series, which is part of the AMA Dual Sport Series. For 2010, there will be roughly 26 rides across the country, in states like Kentucky, Wisconsin, New Jersey, Arizona, Washington, even Alaska.
How's it going today out there?
We're doing fabulous here.
How many entries today?
A lot.
A lot?
A lot. Probably over 300.
Over 300? So that's better than a normal turnout, really, slightly.
I think so, yeah.
That's great.
Nicer guys.
And the weather's warmer
It's beautiful.
than normal.
Good riding.
Great.
And dustier.
Yes, the weather is
Yeah.
warmer than usual.
Yeah.
It wasn't 42 degrees when I left home today.
Yeah, much warmer than normal. No wind yet.
Yeah, I heard it's going to snow in the passes.
Great clients.
Once this is all done, it's time to put your roll chart on your bike, take a look at the map for any last-minute instructions, and head out of town. Something else that Barstow to Vegas is known for is that any possible bike can show up. As long as it's street legal, it's fair game. Large, small, it doesn't matter. Sometimes you see bikes that just stop you in your tracks and you go, wow, look at that old bike. And then you start thinking, wow, they're going to ride that across the desert too. Now often you'll see vintage bikes, the kind that were raced in the desert years ago.
Have you done this again before? I did it last year on this bike. On this bike? How'd it go for you? It came back. Yeah. It barely made it. Barely made it? No, it was fun.
I was meeting up with a number of riders, most of whom I had never met. BMW had put these riders together, and if you ask me, it was a stacked deck. First off, we had Dan Pollock. Dan is from Egg Harbor Township, New Jersey, flew out just for this event. Started riding at the age of 5, but has raced motorcycles for over 30 years. An A-class enduro rider, he's participated in some supercross events, even rode Loretta Lynn's in the Pro-Am class. Next we have Mike Bradway from Vineland, New Jersey. He flew out for this event as well. Now Mike was the 2007 East Coast Enduro Champion, and he's been racing motorcycles for 33 years. In fact, just before flying out for the Barstow to Vegas ride, he took 6th overall in Enduro behind people like Mike Lafferty. Mike has also done some motocross racing, including racing at Loretta Lynn's, a professional jet ski racer as well. Next we have Chris McNeil, better known as Teach by everybody. I guess this is because at one point he was a teacher, but now he's a professional freestyle rider who's sponsored by BMW. Chris, Teach, is from Discovery Bay, California, and he can be found putting on freestyle shows across the U.S. Next, we had Helly Cornton. Helly's been setting up and riding GS's for many, many years. In fact, he's the guy in the TV commercial, the old one where they jumped the 1150 GS into the water. That's him. When he's not riding motorcycles, Helly sets up camera bikes for live feed television. We had riders from out of state on borrowed bikes, so there was a lot of bikes set up to do the morning of the ride. One of the cardinal sins for this ride is to leave late. There's just too many miles to cover and too much fun to be had. So what did we do? We left late. Very late. So late, in fact, the sweep riders were telling us to get our butts in gear and get on the road.
Here's our group leaving the start on day 1 from Palmdale, California.
Now what is normally the case, once you get on the road, you usually have some pavement before you hit your first dirt section. This is the perfect time to run through in your mind that you did everything you planned on doing for your bike prep, the gear you planned on bringing. So you want to make sure it's all working. You want to think through that you tighten that nut, whatever it was, or you brought along something that you said, oh, I got to make sure I put this in my pack. It also is a great time for learning you forgot to do something like that, and hopefully it's something you can live without. Once we hit the first dirt section, the boys from the east got a chance to feel what their bike was like in the dirt. They also learned that it was going to be a very, very dusty day.
It's so dusty.
But it didn't help that Dan almost hit 2 coyotes right off the bat.
Dude, I was doing almost 100 down there, and 2 coyotes went ripping across. Almost got the one.
Chris and I were immediately comfortable riding next to each other. We were having a blast. Chris was a little upset because, with the combination of course, the loose dirt and the knobby tires, he couldn't pop the wheelies he normally does on the street. I would quickly learn that Chris is a really good off-road rider. Kind of surprising for a freestyle street rider. I would also learn that he absolutely loves to ride. Once he said, just give me open spaces and let me ride. Which is really strange for a guy who rides in really small fenced-off areas to perform his shows. Early on we covered mostly easy dirt roads with lots of dust. Something the guys had to get used to was navigating by the roll chart. Chris, I found out, was pretty much a natural at this. I've never seen anybody get accustomed to the roll chart, and keep me honest, so quickly.
You never expect anything but the unexpected in the desert. Anything at any time like that, drop off in the dust.
We were fully aware of just how late we were, so once we reached the first gas stop, it felt good to catch up to 50 or so riders. This meant that when we got back out on the trail, we would be with other riders.
Hey, how's everyone doing? How do you like the dust? How's it going?
Oh man, it's awesome.
We got such...
Time.
Look at the selection of bikes around here, especially the first two. And we got the KLRs, we got just everything around here, the Suzukis. What are you guys looking forward to the most on the rest of today?
Getting rolling again. Getting rolling again.
Keep moving.
Getting rolling. Well, everyone have a great ride.
You bet, thank you. Enjoy the ride.
See you out there.
250 right behind you. Yeah. Can I use that clock? Yeah. I was just doing my own.
Hey, you guys have a good ride.
You too. Take it easy.
At the gas stop, Chris made minor adjustments, while Ken dealt with the weight I'd put on his back.
You okay, Ken? I need you to hit the strap.
Just came around one corner, going pretty fast. We both just slid all the way out to the right around this one guy we were passing.
We waited for the 1200 boys, but they never showed up, so it was time to get back on the trail. Once back on the trail, Ken, Teach, and I were passing a lot of riders having a great time. Until it happened and I threw the bike sideways in a high-speed berm.
Well, welcome to Barstow to Vegas. I got a flat. Happens all the time on this ride. I have what I need. My crew will come back from miles up there and into the mountains. They will come back and help me lift this up so I can pull the axle out the other way, get the wheel out, and get to working unless I can get it done myself. This is what happens. Sometimes you have a perfect year. Often you have not such a perfect tire year. Well, here's desert riding at its best. Getting a flat by yourself. This gentleman came back, stopped over there to help me out. What's your name?
Jim.
Hi, Jim. Jim, you said you just started riding in the dirt again, or?
No, no, just, you know, I live in Maryland.
Oh, wow.
So this is a little bit different for me. I've ridden out in the Mojave one other time, and so I just got to get used to doing the deep sand again.
Yeah, and is the 254 stroke is a little bit tough? You got to keep it spinning.
Actually, the 250's doing great.
As long as you keep it spinning, I'm sure.
Bike's doing great.
Jim came back, helped me lift up the rear end of the bike.
I'm also a BMW rider.
Are you?
Yeah.
What do you ride?
R1200 GS Adventure.
Well, I'm waiting for about 4 of those to come through here.
Yeah.
I haven't seen them yet.
Yeah.
Jim helped me pick up the rear of the bike because I had to slide the axle out the bottom. As you can see, there's nowhere around here to jack up a bike, and I have no center stand. My brother and Teach are up in the mountains somewhere there. Haven't come back yet. Helped me pull the tire off. It's like, why did it go flat? Why did it go flat? And we got the tube out because he helped me get the rim bead off.
Side
you
stand.
do it with the side stand, put it right next to the rim, and you put all your weight on it, and we got it. So I couldn't get it any way. And we were looking, why did it go flat? Well, here it is. I don't feel so bad now. I didn't do anything wrong. Pick up a nail in the desert. It doesn't mean I hit something too hard or rock too hard, which is my concern, and or hurting the tire. And once I get this tube done, I'm gonna be good to go. Now I just got to get it done so I can get back to the ride. But once again, thank you so much for stopping by. It's a pleasure meeting you.
You too.
Just this is what desert people are all about, even though you're from Maryland.
Yeah.
We have some people out from the East Coast.
Yeah. Yeah. I've met quite a few.
He's a smart man. Look at, where's he uses electric gear on his dual sport bike.
Oh
like
yes.
me.
Oh yeah. I do a lot
That
of
is a
touring on this thing.
Gerbings plug right there
Yes,
for electric vest, which he'll probably want to use tomorrow morning out of Barstow. Even though it's warmer than
I
normal.
didn't bring it.
Ah.
I didn't bring it.
Well, Maryland, you're doing it right.
Yeah.
You know. That's a sweep rider right there. Give me the thumbs up. He can go on and sweep for somebody that might need more help than me. Well, so much for that. We're gonna go back, get gas for the KTM, and head down the highway to Jawbone Canyon area, pick up section 5. Here we got deep sand. Whoops. Oh, is that street good? Oh yeah, it started real deep. I remember this now. Chris and I have been slamming our way through some big dips. Chris is really cool. All Chris wants to do is ride. I love it. Got something coming up on the roll chart here. Leftover railroad tracks. Half a mile of stop. It's the kind of stuff you do endlessly on this ride. Uh-oh. Chris is going to do something, I know it.
The Barstow to Vegas event can be one of the most aggressive rides on the schedule. This year would certainly prove no exception to that rule. On most rides, there are alternative adventure bike routes, so the bigger bikes, or less experienced riders, can avoid the more demanding sections. But of course, our riders would have none of that, so it was off to Last Chance Canyon. After turning off the pavement, you headed up a wash, and then it turned sandy. Real sandy. So sandy, in fact, it was nearly impossible just to go straight. After that, you start throwing in rocks. Then the rocks got bigger. And even bigger, as Chris would later learn. I don't think there could have been a more fitting way to introduce Teach to the desert. When we stopped here, I welcomed him to the desert.
Welcome to the desert! I think I'll go a different way. Here, so you don't want to fry your clutch or anything like that.
Later we would learn that a lot of people headed up Last Chance Canyon but changed their mind and turned around and backtracked to the easy route.
Ow. Bike on my leg.
I think I'll go to the right here. As the sand got deeper and the rocks got bigger, it was time to look for a way out. There was a high road through this canyon, but it was a bit tough to get to, especially if you were tired. Breathing hard and upset with myself for this little hill defeating me, I took off my goggles, breathed hard for a bit, and decided I was going to get up this hill and I was going to get up it now. Once I made it up the hill, I just knew that Chris was going to be way ahead of me and it was going to be a bear to catch up to him. But to my surprise, just around the next bend, I found Teach. He was stuck. He was stuck good. This meant his problem was now my problem because he wasn't going to get out on his own. It was a lot of fun as we had to lift the bike over a rock waterfall to get him going. We would later learn that the 1200 boys bypassed the dirt section right before the first gas, the one we had to backtrack to. So they'd gotten ahead of us, but of course they headed to Last Chance Canyon as well. Here's how it started for Dan.
on the 2009 Barstow to Vegas, LA Barstow to Vegas run. And we are on our 1200 GS, as you can see, and we've managed to get it quite dirty so far. And we found ourselves in a place called Last Chance Canyon. And Last Chance Canyon is, as you can see, very rugged desert terrain. Just a wild place, you know, not where you usually take an R1200 GS, but, you know, we figured we'll do it anyways.
Helly, like me, had found and made it to one of the high road sections in this canyon. And interestingly enough, he found his riding buddy stuck on the same rock waterfall.
Oh, nice! I found an alternative. Nice work! Yeah, on an R12 GS in the rugged. You having fun yet?
Dude, I had to freaking shred my goggles. I'm like, please, rain, I'm freaking burning up now. I dumped it back there. I was going real good, and there was a right-hand turn, and I hit this rock. Next thing you know, I'm on my ass.
Start it up and maybe torque it up there. Ah, that won't work. Nice. I was stopped right there. I had enough.
Is this a Kodak moment or what?
I didn't feel so bad or so alone when I learned that Helly had his own problems with little hills in Last Chance Canyon. The canyon was starting to open up and the riding was getting much easier. But at the end of this canyon there was an obstacle, a hill, quite a large hill for an adventure bike. And like myself, Helly decided to get a straight run at it before going up. If you didn't make it, you were going to pay a hefty price. You didn't want to get it wrong.
Just have to get it straightened out.
Helly, Mike, and Dan basically were keeping time with the sweep riders. We started late, that's where we were. Our group of Ken, myself, and Teach, well, we were way behind the sweep riders. Desert riders are nice people. Going up this hill, Helly says thank you to every single rider who either slows or pulls over for him to come up the hill.
Thanks. Hey, Doc. As far as you can see. Wow, beautiful. And we're idiots enough to bring 1200s up here.
Incredible views like this are everywhere in the desert, but they're simply best experienced on a motorcycle off-road. After an incredibly long day of riding, if you're lucky, you make it to the finish. The Ramada Inn in Barstow, California, hosted this event for many years. Normally, once you arrive, all your body wants to do is rest. You're tired, you might be cold, might be sore, your butt might hurt from the seat, but there's a lot to do. You need to check in so they know you finished the event. You need to get your gear bag out of the trailer. You get the day 2 roll chart handed to you, any special instructions, your map for day 2, and you need to put that on your bike. You also need to do things like lube your chain, adjust your chain if you have one, change your air filter out, and look over your bike and fix anything that has gone wrong during the day. This year the weather was really cooperating. It was probably in the 40s with a light wind, but normally you can have a 30+ mile an hour wind and it's normally near or below freezing, making it really difficult just to get these small tasks done. It's one of the reasons that it's so nice to get to the finish during the day. Now I said, if you reach the finish of day 1, because this isn't always the case.
I hear you lost somebody out there.
Yes, we've lost a girl.
Whoa. You're not the only one that's done that out there before. It's usually guys, though, that get lost.
Yes, we're a little worried about her right now.
So you're just gonna wait, see what the sweep has to say?
We'll just give it maybe 45 minutes and see if she comes in with a group of guys.
Well, thank God for what sweep does.
We had fun though. It was a great day.
Fortunately for everybody involved, the missing rider came in about 20 minutes after our talk. She simply rode in with another group of guys. At the hotel, they're gracious enough to let you park just about anywhere. This includes the walkway just outside the lobby. Now what I've noticed over the years is that each and every year, just outside the lobby, there are these perfect motorcycles. They're clean, they haven't been ridden, and they're brilliantly prepared. They're just ready to go. What I call these are the day tours. These are the guys that show up only to ride day 2, so they have their bikes right out front, ready to go. Something else we're fortunate enough to see every year is a support truck sent out by one manufacturer or another. These are the guys that make servicing or fixing something simple much easier because everything is at hand. Now if you've got something serious, like Ken did, these are the guys that save your ride. The start of day 2 was shaping up really nice. Unlike day 1, there were clouds in the sky, but nothing too threatening. Temperatures were great. Cold, but not freezing like normal. Things were going great. Only problem was, we turned the wrong way leaving the start. Apparently nobody was watching their roll chart carefully, so down the road I stopped and I said, "Hey guys, we're going the wrong way." So we turned around, went back to the start, reset our mileage again, and headed out the proper way. Embarrassing? You bet. Fixable? Yes. It felt great to be together as a group again, but this is Barstow to Vegas. No telling how long that would last. We headed out of town, this time headed in the right direction. After a number of miles on the pavement, we turned left onto the dirt. A winding dirt road, really beautiful, except it was extremely dusty. The road then became very curvy, just a really fun desert dirt road. We caught and passed a few other riders, and then the route turned right, up a sand wash. A sand wash I like to call the wash from hell. The wash didn't look too bad on the surface, but the fact was this was extremely soft sand. So soft, in fact, going straight was a huge chore. As you tried to go straight, you basically found yourself going left and right from side to side of the wash, trying to stay within the wash. A mile or so up the wash, there were just people falling over left and right. There were literally bikes littering the sand wash. What was happening is that basically if your buddy fell and you tried to stop to help him, you were going to fall down because stopping or slowing down was harder than keeping your momentum going forward. Now normally I'd find this all entertaining, but I was having such a hard time keeping in a straight line myself, bouncing off each side of the wash, I couldn't enjoy it. Here's Helly passing the lady who had lost her riding partner the previous night. She was doing great, and I witnessed her stopped along the wash, reassuring the guys who kept asking, "How long does this wash last? When do we get out of this?" She was just calm and collect, reassuring them that it wouldn't be too long. Here, Helly has left the main wash, and he's looking for an alternative route. All he's doing is looking for an easier line. Rather than riding in the deep sand in the wash, he's looking for a path with less deep sand, easier to traverse. This is the same thing I did. The only difference with him is that he's having much more luck at it than I did. Fortunately for me, I didn't have to contend with my riding buddy passing me in the deep wash and then roosting me throwing rocks at me as Mike does here to Helly. At the end of the sand wash, we would regroup, tell stories, change our clothes out, and head on.
Yeah, me too, very hard. I slowed down a little bit.
I saw you get sideways one time.
Nice.
I just walked so hard I set my feet off. Why is this thing so twitchy in the back? You need another suitcase over there or something?
Yeah, we need to weigh that thing down a little more. Shedding a layer? Yeah. Oh, you have a fleece.
Dude, these things go better for that than those dirt bikes.
Well, because we keep the power on. A lot of these guys are a little afraid of that.
Just happy I'm not getting a flat, you know?
Dan eventually caught up to us. Let's just say he took a little detour in the sand. From here, the course continued on a 2-lane desert road with cross ruts. The 1200 boys were just pounding through everything.